studio, was just vibing at a cool hotel, I think. And he heard the song. He's like, "Yo, I really like the song. I want to jump on it." And we loaded it up, and he dropped the verse, and that's how the song came about. And the inspiration behind it, there's no specific pim pim in my life. There's a lot of pim pims in my life.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I was just writing.
Period.
Said what he said.
I was just writing. I was just being poetic. I was just being like, I like to write in similes. You press my horn, pim pim. Because growing up, that was the horn for us, right? And you didn't make my heart beam beam. You know what I'm saying? So I like to write in similes like that.
What other side of you have we not seen? Because you said you like poetry, you like writing in similes.
Yeah, like I started off just writing poems when I was younger. I used to have like a book, just writing and writing and writing, and then that led to, at some point I started rapping, and then in 2015 I started to consider Afro beats, and that was the first time that I ever really like sang and did anything. Was I think Fantasy, the first single, I think that was probably like my second or third Afrobeat. Miracle was probably like my fourth or fifth, and somehow people just seem to accept me like I'm a real Afrobeat artist. You know what I'm saying? So,
Because I was going to ask with that, where you've kind of sort of answered the question. You're pretty young, and I wanted to know what the, I guess, behind the scenes was. For usually for artists who come or who have made like a name for themselves, they're quite older and they've done like the back work, and they've been in the industry for a long time, and then it doesn't seem like that's what's happening with you. It looks like right on the spot you're out there, but I could be wrong. So can you just give us like a backstory of like what your life looked like before we actually started really?
Yeah, I mean, so like the music thing started like when I was really young. I was like 8 years old. I would be around like my uncles. They were songwriters. They all wanted to become like huge stars, and for some reason, none of them ever even made it to a studio to record. Wow. So like, I was always just watching them, and my mom too was a choir, so I would just be there and learning the stuff they were doing. I used to drum a lot. I was playing the harmonica, just being involved with the music. And when I turned 15, I saved up money and went to the studio and took one of my uncles that wanted to be a star. I took him to the studio and wrote him a hook, and then I sang that to my rap. And then from then on, I was chasing for radio airplay. I remember one of my first records got played on Rhythm FM, and that was like exciting for me. I was really young at the time. And, so I've been like chasing this thing. And then in Canada as well, I was with a group called Phase 2 Collective. It was like 10 rappers, and, we're rapping.
That's a lot.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that I was doing behind the scenes, but as soon as I was ready for Afro beats, it was ready for me. As soon as I dropped the first record, the Chocolate City Conversation came, and then I traveled back, came here, dropped Miracle, blew up. I got nominated at the award show, so it seemed like I did a lot of work since I was 8 just for this to happen snappy.
Okay, let's talk about your style. I mean, Miracle, Alakari, Ella, there's a kind of playful fun in it that makes it stick. So if you're asked to define your style or what's made you choose this style, what would you say?
Man, I think it's just original. Like I don't know how to describe it. I didn't pick the sound or anything. I just have fun. I'm really playful when I'm not on camera. So when I'm recording, I think it just comes out, and
right.
Like with Tedala, you can tell like I'm really just playing with words, and with Pim Pim, with Ella, like I like to play a lot. And I think just my personality shows in my music.
So what would you say right now with the music that you've got out? We know it's not the holistic view of you because you have so much more. But right now, what would you say is that music that you're like, okay, this describes me more? Like if I wanted any music to represent me, this is the one I would use.
I think Otedola really describes me.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm a rap head, right? So a lot of people don't know about your rap side so much.
Right.
Yeah. So what would you say happened to the rap? Is it because of the commerciality, like you're trying to make some money, so you went into the old Afro pop and all of that? Or you just feel like it's not yet time for rap, especially because with a record label like Chocolate City, where you have lots of rappers on that label, one would expect that, okay, that's a good platform for you to push your rap side, but you're not doing much of that, so what's the reason behind that?
At the time that I came in here, I just felt like Nigerians didn't understand what I was trying to do with my rap, and I understand the market, and I'm not gonna be selling to you what you're not ready to buy. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't about money for
So
me.
they're pretty much not ready for that. Okay.
And you think we're still
need
not
to
Yes, I
ready?
just felt like I just felt like people didn't get it, and I wasn't gonna be out here wasting my time because
Right.
at the end of the day, like I want you to hear me.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be talking to deaf ears. So
Right.
so I'm out here doing what
Okay,
you
I
want
wish
to
you
hear.
had more time, but
But you have
thank
to
you.
freestyle
No,
now.
you can't. Sorry. That's how we wrap up
Look,
this
my voice is
episode.
gone, bro.
Saved by the bell.
Thank you for watching. Remember, you can catch up on this conversation and all our exclusive content by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Plus TV Africa. You can also watch Tea Time on R2 TV and in London on Ben Television. My thank you as always go to my co-anchors, Ife Omai and Ife Oluwaseun, and of course our guest, Dice Ayos. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
My name
me.
is Elsie Godwin saying thank you for watching and see you later.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry.
Dele Momodu.
You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
February 15 is Single Awareness Day.
I'm very sorry for stealing their day. I apologize, all the singles.
Federal government announcing that 36 million reward for any scientist who finds cure for coronavirus.
When I saw this story, first thing I did was roll my eyes. The second thing I did was, why is it corona that you are placing 36? What have you done for Lassa fever? That is right here. Our confidence from how we treated Ebola would impact how we would plan for this. So I kept looking. So when I saw this story, I thought, okay, thank God.
We just hope that they actually mean it and it's not a soundbite.
The only time they will mean it is when it's at their doorstep.
Please
That's
let
the
it not
only
get to
time.
their doorstep, because their doorstep is my doorstep. Please, coronavirus, please, can you just stay back? Thank you.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayiwa Mesale, and today I'm joined by AK and Issy.
Hello. Missed you.
Absolutely. It's been
Yes,
a while.
it's been a
We've
while
been
because we're
focused
together.
together.
Yeah, see, we just had that
Absolutely.
like twins.
Yes.
You miss me, Abby?
Yeah,
Totally.
Are you sure about
The
that?
salsa was wonderful though, but I missed you.
I want to go on another break.
You're
Another
not going
holiday.
anywhere.
You'd remain here.
Okay, how you doing?
I'm fine. I'm okay. Looking forward to a new week, new challenges. But altogether, I'm good.
Otherwise glowing, isn't she?
She is
Tell
now.
us
She's not
the
been
secret.
around for a long time. She's been there coasting and enjoying.
You look good.
Thank you, and so do you. I love the fact that
Thank
you've relocked
you.
your hair and looking so nice.
Thank you.
I'm trying to go to the dread. I don't know.
Are you sure?
I'm
Please
still
come.
thinking.
This your
join
stormy
us.
look. Are you sure?
The thing is that Uwa likes to change her hair look.
I love to change my
I think
look.
that's where the challenge will come in.
I can't cope
because-
with a boring hairstyle.
Exactly.
What did you just say?
Yeah, it's actually
I'm
boring.
I don't mind.
All right, here's what we found as today's quote. We Americans who invented traffic are always being startled by the forms into which it has evolved around the world. What do you ladies think?
Well, I think that traffic is a major problem in metropolitan cities, but the trick is to how it's been managed and the things that you put into place to manage the traffic, because one of the signs that people are doing well is when they buy a car. So
Are you
can't say,
sure?
yes, I'm telling you.
Only
so
in Nigeria, I
don't
think,
think
oh.
so. I don't think so. I think
all
the
over the
craze for
world.
cars is all over the world. You have to show that you bought the new Rolls Royce.
You've arrived.
Yes, you have arrived, and
You're making a
you know,
statement.
if that is the measure of success, I don't think that when it's my turn, I should not buy a car. No, never going to happen. So I think the trick is in how we're going to manage that, and I'm so happy we're talking about that today.
She said it all.
You've not said it all. I don't buy that. No, because I think this thing of owning cars and all of that is an African thing. You know,
I
honestly,
disagree.
because okay, if you go to the UK, for instance, you see top government officials riding the trains and the buses and all of. So wow, I mean, it's just
But
for me, I think it's an
Do
African thing.
you think we can have something like that in Nigeria?
Okay.
Based on the kind of transport system we have?
Exactly.
It's not
We're not
possible.
there yet, but I think, we should stop encouraging people. Don't buy more cars. We don't need cars in Lagos.
Oh, I
Because
don't know what you're
today
saying.
is
There's somebody
Sunday. Guess
somewhere
what?
praying to buy
Today
a
that
car.
is Sunday. Because I had to go to the mainland to do some stuff. On my way from the mainland, guess what? Traffic all over the express. There was
So
a
sorry.
terrible road accident. I witnessed it live. So they, thankfully, there were people around. They took the man. The SUV had squashed, but they were able to bring him out of the car. I think they were rushing him to, there's an emergency center at 7-Up on the express.
Yes, on the express.
So I believe they were taking him there. But I'm saying that
Well, first and foremost, that car has to be replaced. As I said earlier, somebody somewhere
on a
is
Sunday
praying for a brand
please
new
don't buy
car.
new car. There are other ways God can bless you that you can should go and get a private jet and be flying wherever you want to go to. We are done with cars in Lagos. It's horrible. So today we're talking about Lagos traffic, and we have none other than the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority boss, Engineer Olajide Oduyoye. He will join us to discuss this. But first, let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll see what we found in the news. Please stay with us. You're still watching Ways. Now, today is Open That Bottle Night. It was first celebrated in the year 2000. It was created by two writers of the wine column in the Wall Street Journal, Dorothy J. Gator and John Bircher. The day celebrates that wine is not just a liquid, but it's about all the important things in life, about history, geography, relationship, memories, and more. It is celebrated by opening that bottle of wine that you've been saving for a special occasion.
Yes.
And raising your glasses. All right, ladies, cheers.
Yes.
Although this is not wine.
Please,
though.
this is not alcoholic.
There is alcoholic wine and non-alcoholic wine.
Okay. So I have a
As
friend.
a wine lover.
Yes, I have a friend who considers all non-alcoholic wine juice.
Juice, of course it is.
There's nothing you're telling me. Just tell you that they are not wine.
Why? Because it's not
Yes,
liquor.
that if it's not.
If it's not alcoholic, then it's not
then
wine.
it's not wine.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just fruit juice. Just call it juice.
Expensive fruit juice.
So how is the wine business?
The wine business is on its own. I'm not interested in wine.
Oh, that's true. You don't do wines, actually.
I don't do wines at all.
Yeah, you don't do wine.
I
you
won't
do
say what I do. What I do.
All right, so ladies, who's going first? Eke, what did you find for us in the news today?
Okay, so today is taken from the Saturday magazine of The Guardian.
Okay.
It's a very interesting one. It says borrowing from pension fund could compromise scheme and erode confidence, and that's from workers. Now, the African Development Bank has openly endorsed the idea of African countries spending part of their pension funds on infrastructure. And this was said in a closed meeting by the president of African Development Bank, that is Dr. Akinkunmi Adesina. And he was just saying, instead of us borrowing from the World Bank, we have this pool of funds, and I think about 10 trillion. Let's just use that and then, do the things that we want to do and pay back. Even me, I have high blood pressure. Yes, because considering the fact that you work so hard in your youthful years, they've increased taxes, okay? What you have to fall back on is under threat. And according to the NLC, they said the Pension Act of 2014 provides for investment and not borrowing. So please, just stay. And I think immediately this was announced, everybody is just protesting and shouting loud, please stay away from our pension. And if we had accountability of all the monies that we have been borrowing, or even see what it is doing for us, we'd say, okay, no problem, we trust our government, but we know the story. That's not the story for today, but we know. And since you do not have confidence that people would effectively put that money, so please go and get money from anywhere else. Just leave our pension alone.
Please.
In fact, stay away from our pensions.
Stay away from our pension.
In fact, don't even think about it. I'm so passionate about this.
Why?
I'm so happy I didn't take it, because at the end of the day, the government will borrow this money and they will not give you back. So that maybe they will give you one other story. We've lost confidence in government.
Well, we still have some good guys there.
So we still have.
Hopefully they would have a few good guys.
And we are still recovering money for some people. So we need to balance it.
No. The monies that have been recovered, have you seen what they have?
Accountability is a problem.
Isi, let's have your story.
Okay. My story goes thus, that it was coined from Vanguard and Daily Post. It says, Falana accuses corrupt politicians of political elites of fueling religious intolerance. It also stated that it's government officials, it's not just the people, government officials. He stated this at the human rights, he's a human rights activist. He stated this at the UK Dialogue International conference on love and tolerance held in Lagos. That this is to state that he actually stated this because he stated that the government is pitching the citizens against one another. We all serving the same God, but at the end of the day, we are against each other, irrespective of the fact that whether you're a Muslim or a Christian, the bottom line is that we are serving one supreme God, and we have the same beliefs, we have the same traditions.
I always say that if we take aside ethnicity and religion, I think we'll be a better.
And that's why you can't take it aside. Then somebody
because somebody will definitely continue to use those as tools, to divide us. Yeah. All right. So my story is rather a sad one, because I heard the news yesterday. I am married to Adamawa people. Okay. And we come from Garkida, and yesterday in our family group, the pictures was sent and of an attack by Boko Haram in Garkida. Garkida is, they used to pride it like, in London kind of setting, very quiet, lovely place and all of that. And the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar also has lamented on this attack and condemned it, So according to the reports that I gathered from this story, it was learned that, this attack was specific to prominent houses, in fact, to the point that the people that were employed as local vigilantes were the ones pointing which houses,
Wow.
you know, they would burn and all of that.
Wow.
So, I mean, I was just having a conversation with my husband earlier today. I was saying, what would have cost all of this, you know?
Wow.
So, because the people were saying that there's a lot of poverty, so, and it doesn't seem like there's any hope anywhere. So some of these people, Boko Haram is much more attractive in terms of the financial gain for them. You know, so when our leaders are not focusing on how to kill, how to empower the very, I mean,
And
I don't need to know anybody to reduce our poverty index. You know, the ripple effect is beyond all of this. Now, there's a high rise in kidnapping. Even Kaduna State government I was reading another similar story about kidnaps and all of that. That all the roads right now, there's a particular road on a daily basis.
People are being kidnapped.
You are being. They have the infantry. They do it with broad daylight and all of that. So I think we should just try as much as possible as a people to begin to care for one another. When we love each other, we'll fight it together. Let's not go across those divisions, and let's focus on what is big. The enemy is these people, and we have to do it together as a team. You know, that's all I can say.
That's so frightening.
It's a
so
frightening
to
story.
think that you're not safe.
Yeah, Garkida is one of like the very peaceful people. They burnt a lot of churches, a lot of homes. You know, it was really a tough
brings
one.
to mind the issue of insecurity in the country.
Yeah, as well. All right, so today, if you are in Lagos, I'm sure traffic is no news for you, and we have no better person to discuss this than the boss himself, Engineer Olajide Odudoye. He will join us right after the break. Please stay with us. Now, this is What Are You Saying? #Ways. And today we're discussing traffic in Nigeria's commercial capital and Africa's 5th largest economy, Lagos. We have none other than the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, GM, here with us, Engineer Olajide Odudoye, and he was also the Deputy Director, Traffic Management and Transport Safety at the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, that's LAMATA, a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. He started his career at the London Bureau, Hammersmith and Fulham as traffic engineer from 1990. In 2005, he joined the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, that's LAMATA, as a World Bank technical advisor on traffic system management. He has been involved in so many projects since he joined the Lagos State government. Engineer Odudoye has worked in the United Kingdom, and he has experience in airport planning, design, and management. Now remember, you can join the conversation. Tweet to us at +TV Africa or at Wayshow Africa 1 with the #Ways, or you send us an SMS or a WhatsApp to 081-80384663. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
You're welcome.
It really is such an honor to have you here.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we are very, very honored, and we are happy that we have finally caught you.
I'm humbled.
You know, because Lagos is such an amazing, I don't want to use another word.
It's an
such
amazing
place to live in. You know, anybody that lives in Lagos knows that you must always factor traffic time to every single thing. You must plan it. You know, so I want to first of all ask, in your view, the overview of what Lagos is about. How has it been, first of all, since you emerged the GM of last month? Let's start from there first.
Well, I mean, of course, I've been in Lagos since I knew the sky was blue, even though I wasn't born here, technically speaking, but we came back while I was about 1.5 years. So I've known Lagos. I went to Our Lady of Apostles, Yaba, the private sector, before people start saying, no, that's a girls' school. So they have the girls only primary and they have girls only secondary.
Yeah.
But in between, there's a private school. And we went, I schooled in Ibadan for my secondary school thing. So I'm a part and parcel of Lagos around this rural area, Ojuelegba axis. So nobody can say nothing about Lagos apart from maybe the Lagos Island, Nitoto itself. Of course, over the years, things have changed. A lot of us used to remember Ojuelegba roundabout.
Yeah.
We pluck flowers there to go and give to people before the flyover came, before the express roads, before these crazy downfall drivers and
was also
everything.
known for its number of heads. You cannot see the road.
Exactly.
Oshodi, yeah.
I mean, in fact, even the Ikorodu Road itself was just so forestry and everything. And things have changed gradually. Development has come to Lagos, become seriously metropolitan. Right now, we know we're over 20 million people. And whatever it is that is attracting people inside it, as if it's glue or bees to honey, I don't know what it is, because like you guys have said earlier on, we're all looking for this honey, but it doesn't look as if it's just available everywhere. Otherwise, why are we talking about traffic issues?
Yeah.
Why are we talking about downfalls? Why are we talking about keke mawas? Why are we talking about okadas? It means the real honey is nowhere to be found.
Wow. So how has it been since you emerged as the boss of LASMA?
A lot of sleepless nights. I mean, I go to the toilet and I come back and I'm thinking, what next? What can I do? Your phone must be on permanently because any call can come from anywhere. There's no single day that you do not have a breakdown of trucks and trailers in the region of 20 in different places, blocking all the highway and stuff. So there's always emergency situations going on. And then you get calls from people, okay, you know what, Jide, I'm traveling on this road, there's traffic here, what's going on? I start making phone calls. So it's been challenging. It's serious, but it's the kind of work where you cannot allow the pressures to get to you, whereby you cannot begin to think of solutions to address the issues that's on ground. So it's exciting on that level. The other bit that one needs to, someone like me needs to get used to, is people saying GM. Like, I'm thinking, hold on a second, is there extra salary from being called GM? Like,
Maybe.
If there is, then you better start bringing it down, because GM. Like, is it not work?
Oh.
Am I not in the zone? Like, really, I mean, I would love to be like, maybe the MD of whatever of a bank, because I know I have access to the votes, stuff like that, and then nobody can wake me.
I must come in here because I must commend you. I was saying to the ladies that before, I mean, when you're descending Third Mainland Bridge, and you know there are people that are going towards is it Bariga or whatever?
Bagada. Those go to Alakpere, then those go to Bagada.
All of that. You know, before that place always used to be chaotic.
Oroshoki,
So one day I was just coming down Third Mainland Bridge. I just saw sanity. I saw straight files, and I was wondering what was happening.
Something is wrong
Because
somewhere.
I mean, it's actually insanity when you see the way people drive. You know that I'm going towards the right. You go and stay in the inner lane and all of that. All of a sudden, I just saw someone. I didn't even know he was the GM then, and he was just. And there was so much order, and there was, you have been really, really visible, especially on the roads. You know, it's not the last man that sits in an office, I mean, the boss that sits in the office and let the other guys do the work. Why?
What it is, you see, we have over 3,000 officers, and LASMA has been in place over around 20 years now, 15, 20 years. So you go through, from working with Lamata, you go through the system, you know about LASMA opportunities. And even before I became GM, whatever, I took it upon myself, like, if I see traffic and everything, I'm not one to drive off and say it's none of my business. I'll probably just park my car and I'll just start control, because I feel there's a big gap between those that think they're drivers and those that are real drivers, all right? A lot of people are pretenders. They don't have a clue what driving is all about. Moving a car is not driving. Driving is showing appreciation for other road users. Driving is showing courtesy. If I give you way, if you just signal to me to say thank you, it does a whole lot into my spirit that at the next junction, I'm willing to do something good for somebody else. And I find out that there's a void, and people don't understand that driving is like an art. It's not something that you just do offhandedly. It's something that you've got to concentrate and you've got to develop it on a single day. And it's not a competition either. So I find out, like, even before anything to do with GM, I would, at least in my axis, a lot of people know me for that, my Godo, 7-Up area, the motorways area, that you just cannot afford to just be messing around. I used to, in my Italian suits, honestly, I would chase Okada riders back, take a one-way. And I was only stopped because a lot of people came to warn me that they are planning for me, that they're going to cut my neck off. And one actually threw pure water at me.
Wow.
And they ruined my Italian
For doing
suit.
something that's
So I
right.
stopped wearing Italian suit. I started wearing Turkish suits.
I didn't see that coming.
It's cheaper. All right? Still looks nice, but it's cheaper. Right? And so that's been going on. Right? So becoming a GM thing wasn't such a big deal for me in terms of being on the road itself. And if you want to lead and you want to teach, you must be able to demonstrate it. Absolutely. So, I mean, we'll probably talk about the attitudes of officers. There's a lot of attitude in our system that is not right. And part of that wrong attitude is even the officers that I manage.
Yeah.
And I have to go out there to say, you know what, right? There's value in showing people that you can do something different. So I go out there and I do that.
Example.
And of course, when they've gone to hide somewhere because maybe they're tired or whatever, and they see me there, so the word goes around, oh, GM is on the road. So they all start crawling out from the holes in which they've eaten themselves, right? And then once they get in there, and I'll say to them, okay, are you guys cool to deal with this now? And then I go. The only guarantee I do not have is like maybe in 20, 30 minutes, will they still be there?
Be there.
So that's the battle.
Yeah.
But we'll probably come to that to say, how did we get to that level?
Yeah.
What are the factors or parameters that has guided that? And it looks as if there's a disconnect between someone earning their pay. It may not be that good, but what I say to people, it is better to be employed, even as a last mile officer or monitor or manager, than for you to be at home that either your parents or your girlfriend or your wife do not even respect you because you do not have a job to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I may
Okay, I just wanted to ask, and this is also for information purpose, what is LASTMA's mandate? So what is the clear mandate of LASTMA?
LASTMA, as a Lagos State Traffic Management Authority,
Yes.
is mandated to ensure traffic flows and to ensure that motorists or road users do not violate any of the traffic laws. And that is why they are not called LASTMA officers, they are called authorized officers. So authorized officers includes the LASTMA officers, includes the LAJES, includes the CAI, includes the police, includes the task force. So under that umbrella, in the law, there are authorized officers, because I know there's a chance you're going to come like, oh, are they allowed to arrest? Yes, they're allowed to arrest. Are they allowed to ask for your driver's license? Yes, they're allowed. The same way as a VIS person is allowed to ask all those things, any authorized officer within the traffic law is allowed to ask everything and to make arrests and to make sure that you're punished for whatever you do that is wrong, or to educate you to do it better and whatever it is. So authorized officers. It just happens to be a LASTMA one agency. If I'm in CAI, I'm authorized officer, but I'm in CAI. If I'm in task force, I'm in task force, but we are all authorized officers.
So what is the biggest challenge of LASTMA officials on the field?
The biggest challenge, I would say, is the condition in which they are meant to work. A lot of LASTMA officers, they're under the civil service organization, and the pay is not fantastic, really and truly, in the environment in which we live. This is Lagos. Lagos is kind of expensive. And it's expensive in a practical way, and it's expensive in a psychological way. Because when you see people driving Rolls Royce all over the place and they're driving Ferraris, even in the system of Lagos, you begin to wonder whether your God is not answering your prayers. All right? So there are pressures there. But the condition in which they work is very, very challenging. It's challenging because the weather is kind of hot, all right? And then we even have the rainy season, right? And it's not as if when it rains, people don't smash water onto your body while they drive along. Then we have a challenge with negative attitude from some motorists.
If I may step in there, sir, the negative attitude from the motorist can be vice versa.
Yes.
Because the LASTMA officials can be doing the same thing that the motorist is actually doing. So in terms of traffic control, how will a LASTMA official actually handle a motorist who is not actually doing complying with the rules?
I
of
understand.
traffic?
I understand what you're saying, but I think it comes with a lot of experience, and we all have different experiences. We all have different backgrounds, and we all have different opportunities. So I'm not going to place myself, because my experience is totally different. All right. I come from a background where I've received a whole lot of training from outside the country, and I'm a good marketer as well, and I can understand psychology. And I know the human minds, and I know the ones that is just lying, I know the ones that is desperate, I know the one that is just looking to beg, because we have a set of people that drive, there are beggars, all right? And there are deliberate violators, all right? And then those who are caught in ignorance, and there are those who are desperate. The desperate ones are the ones with children, the children are crying and everything, they need to get a home and feed them. That's desperate. Or you need to go to hospital, that's desperate. All right, you need to go and buy medicine, that's desperate. There are willful obstructors. People would know there's no one who's going to catch me, or I know someone that can call when I get in trouble. It's going to take the one way, it's going to block the traffic, it's going to turn 2 lanes into 6. Then you have that. Then you have those that are totally ignorant. They did not go for a driving lesson. They just bought the driver's license itself. And all they know is to put a car in gear, and the rest of the life they struggle in putting the car in reverse to park properly. And everything else is, you see, I tell you, there's some people who do not know that the middle pedal, or the big pedal, if it's not automatic, is meant for usage all the time. So when they're driving right, they just don't want to take their foot off the accelerator. They don't want to press the brake until when they get home. That's not driving. So you have those ones. Then you have the aggressive ones. So the LASMA officer is going through this process. Now, who is the LASMA officer? The LASMA officer is female. LASMA officer is a mother. LASMA officer has got the challenges of children at home, got the issues of husband, whether the husband is having girlfriends or whether he's not putting enough money at home. All these are psychological issues that you bring from home to come to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now, the distance between where you live and where you're posted could be an issue, because now you're supposed to come in at 6 o'clock. Now, if you're a woman, all right, you've got to think about the security before you leave your home if you don't have your own car, all right? So how do you safely get yourself from home to where you're working? Then you get there, and people are now abusing you and acting and treating you as if like you're a nobody. So when you say stop, at most intersections, when you say stop to someone, at least 2, 3, 4 cars will go past, as if you're invisible.
Yeah.
And that is what we do. And so there's a trigger. So what I'm saying is a chicken and the egg thing. Now, if I go through that every single day, there comes a time when I might likely lose it in terms of comportment, in terms of saying, oh, thank you very much. You know, you can show sarcasm while you're being rude, all right? So you can say, oh, thank you very much. I'm glad your driver's license is from Czechoslovakia. Now, the person you're talking to maybe doesn't even understand English properly. So when you say Czechoslovakia, he even probably thinks you're saying good morning. All right? So they go through all that. And I think over the years, and it's not an excuse, I think over the years, they have now also developed an aggressive and attitude.
Okay, so, sir, you know, because I like what you're saying. I have seen so much investment done in terms of training and retraining of LASMA officials, you know. So, I mean, it happens in Magodo all the time. I always see them with their bags coming into the estate to go and get trained and all of that. So if they are being trained, are you trying to, tell me that, because part of the job is for you to be able to handle the pressure of the people, you understand? So are you saying that with all of these things, despite all the training, they are not getting that, you know, that training is not working?
That's not right. The training is working. But you see, where we have issues is when someone has offended, all right? So it's in that category of the person who has offended, how are they dialoguing with the officer? And no matter how many times you've trained me or whatever it is, disrespect within our system is not something that we take lightly. And a lot of officers are disrespected on a daily basis. And that is what tricks. So before your training kicks in, it's your emotions at that time that kicks in. Because if I stop someone and the person begins to say, I beg, get out of here, or whatever it is, whatever, because I need to assert my authority and to make the pay. Because you see, if you don't change something, the Nigerian driver is not slow when it comes to legality. When someone takes one way and nothing happens in 3 seconds, trust me, others are going to follow.
Will follow.
Definitely.
All right? So if I sometimes do not show the first person that has catapulted that effect, that this is a serious matter, i.e., be aggressive towards them, so that I can send a message to the rest.
That's so true.
All right? Then it becomes like, oh, that one has gone, then the next thing, So you've lost it.
Yeah. Okay, we are going to dig deep into the traffic proper now, because we needed to give the background and the overview of where we are right now. But we'll do that right after this break. We'll still have the GM with us. Please stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. We still have Engineer Olajide Oduyoye with us in the studio. And remember, you can join the conversation. Twitter us at +TV Africa or at Waze Show Africa 1 with the hashtag Waze, or you send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. Okay, so now we're coming into the traffic proper.
Yes.
Why?
I was going to ask that. What is the science behind traffic? And you know why? Well, you could be going on the road, you know, it's so tight, the traffic is mad. After you pass like a junction or two, you would not see
anything that caused it. That's even the one that irks me so much. So why do we even have traffic in Lagos? Like, I believe right now that I think about 95% of people on the road in Lagos, they are mad. Because, because you cannot go through that kind of hell and be sane. It's not possible. So why?
The question is a big one. And we have to take responsibility along the line. Lagos is the smallest geographical boundary-like state in the whole of the country, all right? And we have the highest number of people, it's over 20 million. And everybody in the hustle needs to move from one point to the other. Otherwise, things will just go by you.
Yeah.
It's three ways. There's the government responsibility.
Okay.
And the systems. There's the driver's responsibility, and then there's the enforcement responsibility. So the enforcement will be people like us, the LASMA. And then the people will be the drivers, right?
The road users.
And then the government. So from the government side, the government needs to stand up and take responsibility for the good, the bad, and the ugly within the system. I'm talking about the roads, all right? So when you talk about what causes traffic, the road condition will cause traffic. If the road is bad, we don't manufacture cars here. So any vehicle you bring, you need to service it with parts that's coming from abroad. It's not as if we're that buoyant in this part of town that we have so much money that we can just buy any parts kind of thing. So it's expensive to maintain a vehicle, all right? And so if the roads are bad, everyone is kind of careful, except you don't have a choice, but you can. I mean, for 20-something years in England, I never knew I could change or I needed to change shock absorbers.
Wow.
Welcome
Seriously.
to Nigeria.
Came to Nigeria, it's like shock absorber is something you buy every 2 months, all right? And if you're not in employment and you're earning enough with all the other challenges with education and health and children and all sorts of different things, you'll be thinking, I cannot maintain this vehicle. So that's number one. Then the government also on the side is responsible for the other modes of transportation that would make people leave their vehicles at home and go into mass transportation. So the government is trying so far compared to where we're coming from. You see, when you say someone is trying, you look at where they're coming from and where they're going, all right? So you've got a BRT system in place and it's been expanded into other routes. You got the Yaba going to Oyingbo. You got the existing one from Ikorodu town to CMS. And then you got the one from Agbado that is going to go into Marina as well. And then you've got the water transportation system that has been developed. A lot of boats have come into place. They're really developing that in terms of alternative.
Yeah.
All right? And then you have the rail network. Unfortunately, the Blue Line Rail from Kokomaiko to go to Marina, it's one that really should have been operative right now, but there was a gap.
Yeah, a gap here. Yeah.
There was a gap, all right? But that gap is being refilled by the present Mr. Governor, present administration to make it happen. And simultaneously, we got lucky that we're in the same government with the central government, which is now APC, and so the red line is also coming up on the stream. Before, we were having challenges in getting the federal government to give us access on that corridor. So all that is happening right now. And it takes a whole lot of money and time for all these things to come in. So that's the government side. Then we talked about the people side, our own cars, in terms of like wanting to go through pain to gain. All right? We are I find us as Nigerians, in generality, we're very impatient kind of people. We know what we want, and we just want to go get it quick. We don't have time for wasting. We don't plan to say, okay, you know what I want to achieve in the next 5 years. We don't plan in our heads that I want to achieve something so that my children can benefit. All we're thinking about right now is just me. I want to do this, I want to do that. And that is the impatient system, the impatient blood inside of us that needs to change. Because in general terms, we transfer everything that is us into the way we drive. And that is why you will give an example that you will come to a junction. The person who's coming from a side road is indicating to make a left turn. A left turn means that person is not going in your own direction, which means you're not even losing space. But you get to that junction and then you block it. You even block it from a traffic movement from the opposite side that wants to make a left turn into that side road. But you've forgotten that if you block that junction and this guy cannot make that left turn, the vehicles queuing from behind that car is actually blocking where you want to go. So we're not thinking, and we think we're competing with each other. We don't even know each other. We're not even going to the same destination. But every single day when we get into the car, it's like, and then you go so close. That's why I said a lot of people, I don't know where they got a license from. The gap between a car and the other behind, you're supposed to be able to see the tire in front.
Definitely.
So that when it is rolling back by error, you're able to notice it and you're pressing
right?
hold.
Sorry, I was in Europe. My sister is trying to get her, because she's gotten her driver's license. She lives in France and all that. So when she's driving, if you see the distance,
and you're wondering why she's doing that,
she said because where I'm coming with the story is, while you think that you want to be smart, there are cameras everywhere, and because for her, in fact, when you have done the test, you've gotten your approved license, I think she has to drive maybe another 2 years without committing one single offense. Because if you commit one offense, there are points that they make.
Yes.
They will slash your, so it's like starting all over again. So for that, everybody maintains those rules. So the part of the government, is what I want to come to now. There was a ban, a recent ban on Okada and Keke Mara.
Restriction.
Yeah, or restrictions rather. Yes, it was restrictions because some places they are not allowed to ply some places. How has that impacted in your statistics? How has that impacted, the traffic situation? Because I see a lot of people commuting on the roads. There are no alternatives. So you see so many people waiting for one bus to come, and by the time the bus comes, I saw someone at the Eco Hotel Junction struggling to get into one bus because there are too many people with limited transport. Means.
The situation is a very funny one, and one has to be honest, but there are two evils.
Okay.
And I've got to be honest about that. So there's a fallout from what you discussed from the restrictions, all right? And so you have a lot of more people at the bus stop waiting for buses. You have a lot of more people that have now brought their vehicles out because they were using the Keke Mara and everything to transport themselves from Finn. The issue is what I said about where you're going. What is your vision of Lagos? What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years? What legacy do you want to leave for your children? Because at the end of the day, the reason why a lot of people go to the mountain top to go and pray to get a visa for somebody else's country is because they're going to a saner environment. All right? Now, if we do not have a vision to create a sane environment for ourselves, then our children will forever be going to the mountain to pray and do hallelujah when they get a visa. I mean, that is the most absurd thing ever, to be saying, praise the Lord because you got a visa.
So if I may step in there, how will a strategic transport, transport master plan aid
this commute,
Nigeria?
Well, a strategic transport master plan like we have in Lagos, we have one for Lagos, is not different from what was used in other cities in London. And every year they have a plan that they're following, and they will develop this and they will develop that. They will have their underground, they will have their subways, they would improve on cycling, they will improve on walking.
Which they have always done.
Yes, which is always done.
What's our plan? Lagos?
What's our plan? And we have a plan. Lamata has a plan, Lagos State government has a plan. But every plan requires funding. All right? And that is why Lamata has done well in the sense that, like, even the World Bank recognizes that as an agency who can implement the things in going forward. Now, it shouldn't just stop with Lamata. It should stop in everything that we do, either it's on the education side or the health side. Because let's just explain to ourselves. If there's an hospital or clinic or medical center within a walking distance, nobody would need to travel on Kekemawa to say you want to go to hospital.
True.
If there's a good school
within the community,
just like we did when we were growing up, nobody will say daddy and mommy would not be doing school runs, because traffic is generated from school runs.
Absolutely.
You can see traffic reduces when there's a break.
When there's a break, yes.
Do you understand? And I mean, you know about Magodo. In Magodo, there are about 20 schools within that estate alone. 20 schools. And guess what? I have never seen one parent walking their child to any of the schools.
And it's actually a walkable distance.
Do you understand? But then what happens when you even create walkway? Because of this attitude of like, Asha Jemo, we want to eat, want to feed. You not tell someone who's selling dogs, who's selling tomatoes, who's selling onions, and your food shopping is not on the walkway. Now, when you go out and you need to walk on a walkway and it's already occupied, you're forced to stay on the carriageway, you're back in traffic, you hear one story about someone being knocked down on the road, you're not going to walk anymore because you're fearful for your life, because you're thinking...
So I would like to interrupt you, I'm sorry. But you're now you're getting to a question I want to ask. How are we going to educate people on the right use of the road? Because I remember there was a time that there was a law, if you're going to cross the road under a pedestrian bridge, go against indiscipline.
Yes, why?
Would be there to apprehend you or give you some sort of evaluation. But that's not happening. You would see people right under the pedestrian bridge crossing, waving hands for the
so let me even
cars
add
stop.
to AK's question, because I noticed with traffic, right? This is my pen. With traffic, specific junctions always cause traffic. Where there is, places where people cross the road, pedestrian bridges and all of that. That is one major, especially for instance, at that Beggar junction, there's a traffic, they created some barricades, but some people are still crossing it. In fact, I was making a joke.
They make a hole.
I was making a joke that very soon, on that Bagada expressway that they are creating, they've made the median higher. I was making a joke with my producer. I said, very soon people will start carrying ladder when they are trekking that, because people don't just have that mindset to use pedestrian bridges. They want to use ladder to climb the median and cross the road. So how do we start to orient people? Or what agencies do we need to partner with? Do we need LASMA to partner with to get this job done? Because people crossing the road is a major cause of traffic in Lagos.
I personally think we need to give credit to outfits like yours, because you have viewers, and you can convince people and you can talk to them and make them see. Because if ladies are saying these things, then somebody's thinking, oh, okay, maybe I didn't really understand it that way. There's a lot of work to be done, and that is the truth. But the spirit first, we must love each other. A lot of the things we're talking about is because we don't have love for each other. We're too consumed with self. And that is why we drive the way we drive. That is why we don't feel we need to give way. That is why I would occupy a walkway, because you know why? I'm only thinking about I want to sell. And I'm ready to take my market and go and put it on the road regardless of who needs to use the road.
But don't you think that ignorance to have a part to play? Like, I don't think that most people know the use of the zebra crossing, what it is for. No. Because there has to be a part where the populace is being educated.
That, some of them actually know what the zebra crossing is for, but the moment they just put their legs, another car is coming right ahead and is about to hit them off the road. Yeah. So it's a two-way street.
Is that love that you're talking about?
Yes, if you look at Ikorodu Road, the BRT corridor, I put signs in there. Advanced signs to say there's pedestrian crossing ahead. So as a driver, you're supposed to read the signs, they're supposed to talk to you. So I'm telling you there's a pedestrian crossing in front. And then you get to the pedestrian crossing, there's another sign that says to you, give way to pedestrians crossing. Now, is it you and I that's supposed to stand there with a microphone to say, okay, stop? No, a driver is supposed to read, you're supposed to see someone who's already vulnerable. You see, it's because of the lack of love. I'm already in an air-conditioned vehicle. I'm already cruising. And I just feel I should not stop for a pedestrian to just cross, and I'm seeing that she's a woman with children, and I would never stop. So if I don't stop, just like you said, who's going to stop for that woman to cross safely? Do you know the accident rates on our roads? Why has anyone ever left their homes and prayed that they want to get killed on that day or get knocked over?
Totally not.
And that is the reason why it comes back to this recession of Kekemawa. You see, Kekemawa and Okada were providing a service.
Yes.
And there's demand for it. And there's a supply.
Yeah.
But the point is, the bad side of it is the danger and the security and the safety issue. A lot of people are getting killed by Okada. Why? Because these guys are so consumed, just like every other aspect of our people, so consumed with money that you cannot sit down and spend.
Okay,
and
so
that is where we're going.
on one point, because we're trying to wrap up now, are LASMA officials allowed to enter into people's cars?
Oh, I was hoping you would not ask me. I was hoping you would not ask me that, but I'm not shy in answering. This is the scenario, and I'm gonna be dead honest. It is not ideal for a LASMA officer to enter your car and drive the car because, number one, it's probably not insured. He doesn't even know the mechanism of your car. The car can break down, the car can explode.
No, I can even be the one driving, but they enter my car to say they've arrested me.
No, that's not, that is in a way nice, but this is what happens over the years. So you learn, and LASMA officers have arrested someone that has broken the law. They know they've broken the law. LASMA officers did not create the law.
Yeah.
The system created the law. So you've broken the law. You've jumped the lights. You've taken one way. So I need to arrest you. If a London policeman tells you to stop, you stop. If he says you should walk out of that vehicle, you will obey. If a New York police does the same thing, you will obey. But in Nigeria, none is begging or aggression. So the LASMA officer is not thinking, what kind of behavior is this? I didn't force you to commit any traffic law, so you need to step out. So the guy is not listening. That's when he opens the door, he forces him out, because now I've told you more than 3 times and you're not listening. He goes in there. Now, this is happening in the middle of the road, where that melee is causing chaos. Yeah. So you need to get out of that system, right? And you need to get out fast, because this is what happens sometimes. Let's assume you catch a downfall. If you pick it up and you don't move fast to your yard where you can be arrested, they will grab you up, they will mobilize and pick you up on the next junction and mob you.
Okay, so we have some questions. The BRT corridor experiences the most violations from drivers. What punitive measures have they suggested, seeing as the drivers are Lagos State staff? That's for BRT bus drivers. That's from Uti, one of our
yes,
what punitive measures for BRT drivers, because they violate traffic the most?
Well, BRT drivers violate.
Yes, and they're bullies on the road.
And they bully people
on
the road.
Yes, I know.
So what
I know
punitive measures is LASMA giving?
No, they get themselves sacked.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, once they're reported and everything. That's why, you see, enforcement anywhere in the world is not done by just officers of an agency.
Okay.
Every citizen of the state who loves their country, who loves the state, and wants to see a better Lagos, better be a silent enforcer, which means that is why you see Oyinbo people, even in the morning, they'll be peeping through the window. They are, no, it's true, they are reporting bad movement. They're not prognosing.
I get you.
They're looking out for the next person.
Yes.
And they call the police, oh, listen, this is whatever. That is what we're supposed to do. We're not just, it's none of my business, so me, I don't want to work. Everybody's supposed to call. We have technology to make the call.
So is there a number we can call when we see, cases of LASMA that's required LASMA's attention?
Absolutely. If it's LASMA officer misbehaving, capture it. If you can video it without endangering yourself, do it and send it. There's a number 0812 992 8550. 0812 992 8550. Report it. I will see it. I will read it. I will call them in. They will be reprimanded. If I need to get them off the road and go and put them in one corner there to stay to chill for 2 weeks, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Does LASMA have some sort of like a customer service agency that they can actually, if you're in traffic, you can actually call in directly?
Oh yes, the same number, but this way now is traffic radio that we use.
Yeah. Okay,
it's traffic radio
that
you're supposed to call, because then they pass that information, disseminate that information to everyone to say this is what's going on, and officers listening to it, and you're supposed to react to it and everything. But the major problem is truck breakdown. Yesterday morning, for 5 hours, Bonny Camp was on standstill because there was a diesel truck, whatever. You ask me, how did a 33-foot tanker spill over at a roundabout. What kind of speed did
It
you
was
do
on top.
to go in there and spill over?
Wow, that's really...
That's the problem that we have.
Well, I think from the biggest lesson I have learned today, which is, I mean, something that is actually very obvious at this point, we should be considerate. We should learn to say, okay, you know what, I'm not the only person on this road, and just make it easy for everybody, because we can actually make your job easy.
Yeah.
And we can frustrate you at the
Yes.
same time.
Yes.
You know, so, I mean, we would, on ways,
So that means-
we're going to take it up on ourselves
Exactly.
to start to be the advocates for LASMA, because it's important that we start to reorient the minds of people. Just be considerate on the next user. Could you kindly take that number slowly again, just in case somebody wants to hear that number for the LASMA to call in? The number you just called out.
0812.
Okay.
992.
Okay.
8550.
Thank you so much. So do you have anything to say to Lagosians?
I want to plead with them and say sorry for those that might have gone through any stressful moment with LASMA officers. I mean, in any situation, there are bad eggs, and there are some overzealous officers who needs to perpetrate the training that they've been given, and they have been given. And I'm just saying sometimes you need to forgive before you're offended, and so that you forgive them. But while you're forgiving them, find a way to report what is not normal, because if you don't, then that attitude in which they perpetrate on the road will continue. And you don't want that to happen to your sister, to your husband, or to your friend. And so we want to be your friend as much as possible. I am a friend every single day, but I cannot be everywhere. But I need people who need to be like me to make sure that Lagos is moving.
Thank you so much. And we are here to partner with LASMA. All right, thank you so much.
welcome.
You know, this has really been an insightful
been a very
conversation.
good talk
Very good. We were planning to attack you, but you know what? You came with a superior argument. So we had to calm down. All right, so catch us live every weekend from Fridays to Sundays at 8 p.m. as we bring thought-provoking, engaging and informative conversations to your screen. Now, in case you missed today's quote, here it is again. Americans who invented traffic are always being startled by the forms into which it has evolved around the world. Do you agree with that? No, Lagos. Oh my God. I can never get over Lagos traffic.
We're special people.
We're a special breed. And I think
The
we should
traffic in Lagos is part of Lagos.
The point is, how come so many of our drivers, they go abroad, and as soon as they land, they're normal?
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Seize it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Oftentimes when we see celebrities either on social media, television, or in person, we assume they have it all together, but we forget that they're also human. Well, here are some of the low points of some of your favorite celebrities.
It's a long story, man, because after I left church, because I love music so much, like I've loved music right since when I was 9, from my primary school days, I love music. So I started working in a pure water company, where I was paid 15,000 naira in a month. I was earning very low salary then, but I had no choice. I had to do it because I had to pay for studio session, go to shows before you buy one or two, bus score for you to wear money don't finish, I went through so many challenges, man. After, I started working at Loot again, Loot, Lagos State, Like
As what? In what capacity?
Yeah, health attendant. Yeah, I worked for 8 years.
Wow.
You know, where I gathered all my salary just to make sure, you know, everything went well for me. But thank God, you know, after the OSU, you know, so many dirty jobs that I did then. But thank God today I'm here. You know.
Even while I was Waje, you know, I was squatting with a friend. I couldn't afford a house. You know, I couldn't afford an apartment of my own in my early years as a musician. You know, and you know, sometimes at some point it was from one friend's house to the other because you also have to be sensitive to some people. You get the way they go take change and for you, you said go find how you go. You understand? And even at that point, for every money that I made, I knew that my daughter was living with my mom. And I knew that it was my responsibility to cater for my daughter. So that I was squatting was no reason why I shouldn't be able to, you know, work and give my daughter something, you know, for her fees, my mom. So even the schools then, they used to spread the fees for me. Sometimes I'll pay up to 5 times. My first salary was 1,000 naira.
Wow.
And then I was in the university. I had not even entered the university, but I was a church secretary. But that 1,000 naira was enough for me to buy baby milk at the time, because I needed to do what needed to be done.
Without being too specific, it's just when I was making the transition from working from my grandfather's house to my own space, I went from having a lot to not having so much. So I thought I needed to quit, but it was just even actual reasons for me to keep going. So I don't need people to just, if they forget anything, they should just understand that if they need to keep watering, they need to keep ensuring the soil is good, and it's seasonal, but they are made of the stuff that roses will grow from, so they'll be fine.
Being an entrepreneur in Nigeria has been very difficult. For me, I started my business over 10 years ago, so we're looking at about 12 years now. The challenges along the way have been, have been many, to say the least. But I think one thing that has gotten me through is support. So whenever you're trying to get through a challenging time, look for people around you who can support you. I have a very supportive husband and family. My parents have also been very supportive. It was tough in the early days, but I think also having a business mind. So it's one thing to have passion, which is great, but you have to support it with a business mind. Absolutely, if you want to succeed and if you really want to scale in your business.
Thank you for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are some of the stories making the headlines. My name is Felicity Ezewike. The Kaduna State High Court has ordered the controller of the Kaduna Correctional Facility to appear before it. The court is hearing the case of the founder of the Islamic movement in Nigeria, also known as Shiite, Ibrahim El-Zakzaky, and his wife Zenat. The court, at the resumed hearing, stood down proceedings till 12 p.m. on Monday to hear from the controller on why El-Zakzaky's wife was allegedly disallowed from seeing her personal physician while being held at the correctional center. One of the counsels for El-Zakzaky, Abubakar Mashal, had earlier told the court, presided over by Justice Gideon Kurada, that she was refused the access to her personal physician, contrary to the order of the court. Against this backdrop, the trial judge ordered that the controller of the correctional center appear before the court to give reasons why doctors were allegedly disallowed from attending to Zenat while in their custody. Still on court matters, the Federal High Court, this time in Abuja on Monday, struck out charges of non-declaration of assets instituted against the former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu by the defunct Special Presidential Investigation Panel for the Recovery of Public Property. The dissolved panel, then led by Oko Bunobla, had in 2018 instituted the case marked against the senator, alleging that without reasonable excuse, the 7th senator refused and neglected to declare his assets upon being served the panel's notice to declare. The AGF office took over the case and other suits being handled by the SPIP upon a presidential directive dissolving the panel in 2019. On Monday, Justice Binta Nyako struck out the case against Ekweremadu after the prosecuting counsel from the AGF office, Pius Akuta, said the former lawyer handling the case for the panel had disappeared with the case file. He pleaded with the judge to order the former counsel to release the file to the AGF office, but the request was declined by the judge. Ike Ekweremadu's lawyer urged the judge to strike out the case. Responding, Justice Nyako dismissed the prosecution's request, saying the case lacks diligent prosecution. The prosecution is allowed to come back whenever they are ready to proceed with the case. We go to developments in Edo State, where the government, we hear, has criticized the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshomole, over the recent attack on his person in Benin City. The governor, Godwin Obaseki, while playing host to former President Goodluck Jonathan in the state capital, says he is disappointed that the APC national chairman has thrown all caution to the wind and continues to disregard laid down protocols. He urged the national chairman to bring an end to the continuous display of impunity and lawlessness.
Traditionally, as somebody who has been a president, a senior political office holder, when you go to a state, you have to pay courtesy call on the chief executive of the state. If you are free, if you are not too free, fine, but at least he will inform you. So we just come to greet the young man who is trying his best.
For us, it's just extending the courtesy. I mean, this is the president, someone who has served the country at the highest level. Unlike the unfortunate incident that we've been having, in Edo State, which is really sad, where somebody who has been the governor of a state is visiting the state and does not realize that courtesy demands that he could inform the governor or the government apparatus of his visit, and that the chief executive is in charge of his security when he is in the state. So it's really sad and unfortunate that people who have served, who should know better, decide to behave the way they do, or behave with impunity and utter sense of lawlessness.
Traditionally, Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu has approved the declaration of Monday, Tuesday, February 25 as public holiday. The governor, while granting the approval, said that a public holiday is necessary for the state to welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, who is expected to arrive this state to commission 2 key legacy projects, the Ore Industrial Hub and the Ore Interchange. According to a statement by the State Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Donald Ojogo, the commissioning are part of activities marking the 3rd anniversary of the administration. The governor expressed appreciation to God for the journey thus far, urging all to take advantage of this period to participate fully in the series of activities lined up for the anniversary celebrations. Now, the Smallholder Women Farmers of Nigeria, also known as SWOFAN, has tasked the federal government to improve its funding for agriculture. Members of the group converged on the Unity Fountain in Abuja, saying with more funding for agriculture targeted at women farmers, much can be achieved, especially in the area of achieving food security. They also want more inclusiveness in government policy as they constitute over 70% of Nigeria's agricultural labor force.
No food on the table. No food on the table, no nation. And if that is the case, this sector is a very critical sector and it should not be neglected. The head of states, they met at their own level at the African Union and agreed that at least 10% of the total budget of every country should be allocated to the agri sector. Despite the fact that we see this year's allocation is more than last year's allocation, but we still advocate for more increase in the sector. And if there is increase in the sector, we would also plead that a percentage of that increase should go to smallholder women farmers, so that we can be able to produce the food we can feed this nation with. With the smaller allocation, we know how this sector is doing. What will happen if there is an increase in the budget allocation in this sector? We know that poverty will be handled.
On behalf of the ministry, I would want to congratulate you for this very laudable campaign, because for Nigerian women farmers to come out to the federal capital and make known to government what their demands are, it's a very, very commendable thing. And I have to assure you that your comments have been noted, and I assure you on behalf of the ministry that we are going to take actions going forward. Hitherto, we have been working with you, maybe on a small scale, but now we are going to work with women on a larger scale. The ministry has also taken note of your demands, especially in the area of agricultural inputs as regards seeds and equipment. And the narrative now has changed in the ministry that whatever interventions we are doing, whatever support we are going to give to farmers, it should be demand-driven. We are not buying what we think the farmers should have. We are going to procure what the farmers say they want. And we are going to start from the smallholder women farmers.
Women farmers, oh yeah! Tobacco control advocates have called for a more effective implementation of available tobacco control policies nationwide. They say government must take advantage of the benefits of tobacco control, increase internally generated revenue, and protect citizens from the effects of tobacco use. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
Available data says over 3.5 million persons have lost their lives to tobacco use in the past. Data further suggests that over 16,000 persons die yearly from tobacco use. Despite efforts to curb this growing trend, about 25,000 children aged between 10 to 14 years and another 7.4 million adults still use the substance daily. Tobacco control advocates, however, are optimistic that serious government worldwide can win the war against tobacco use. With this in mind, some advocates in Nigeria are calling on the federal government to move beyond gazetting Nigeria's National Tobacco Control Act 2015 and begin a radical implementation process.
There are a lot of researches, data to show that countries lose a lot in terms of what you spend on health related to tobacco use, and that tobacco control in itself brings a lot of economic benefit. So we expect that our nation is going to gain tremendously from this particular law.
When you have tobacco control policies effectively implemented, everyone is protected, so that because of course you know about the harms of tobacco, and it's not just the smoker who suffers diseases. All of us are at risk. So the effects of secondhand smoke. So when tobacco control policies are effectively implemented, everyone is protected and the whole country is healthy. And when everybody is healthy, then people can go about their business without having to go into hospitals and spend the little money that they have to cure diseases.
They say government must work toward providing adequate funds for the war against tobacco. They also want Nigeria's federal government to institute a committee that will work towards raising funds for an expensive anti-tobacco use campaign.
The Honorable Minister of Health should constitute another committee because he's the one so empowered by the Act to constitute a committee. Then it is the committee that will now take forward the conversations as regards tobacco control fund, because the tobacco control fund is supposed to be created to fund both the committee and every other tobacco control interventions in the country.
It's critical that funding is available to ensure sustainability of all tobacco control activities at all levels, at the federal, the state, and the local government. So the responsibility really is on the Federal Ministry of Health to work closely with the Federal Ministry of Finance to establish the Tobacco Control Fund as soon as possible.
With full belief that Nigeria can still win its anti-tobacco war, some of these tobacco control advocates are calling on government agencies responsible for the protection of citizens to rise up to the challenge and save Nigerians' future generation already getting hooked to tobacco use.
For us as CSOs, we will continue to monitor both the government and the tobacco industry's response to this new set of regulations. We know for one that the tobacco companies might want to challenge this regulation, and we just want to advise them because they're going to lose the way they've been losing all around the world. This is a piece of legislation that we're ready to defend as CSOs, as Nigerian people.
We're going to continue monitoring to make sure that the policies, the law and its policies are fully implemented in our country. And that's why we CSOs, as we move from campaigning for the passage of laws, we're now going into a different campaign to ensure that enforcement happens.
Idong Joseph, Plus TV Africa.
The news will continue after the short break. Don't go away. Libyan Prime Minister Fayez al-Sarraj on Monday denounced the shelling of civilian areas and airports in his country, labeling renegade military commander Khalifa Haftar a war criminal in a speech to the UN Human Rights Council. Children have lost their right to education due to the shelling and the closure of schools because of the attacker, and those who fund the attacker and provide weapons, these must be held accountable, Sarraj told the forum. He said that his internationally recognized government of national accord had always showed its readiness to move forward on the path to peace and stability. UN political talks between the two sides are due to be held in Geneva on Wednesday. Lesotho's Prime Minister Thomas Thabane appeared in court on Monday to hear charges of murdering his estranged wife. 80-year-old Thabane is suspected of involvement in the murder of his wife, Lipolelo, who was shot to death in June 2017, 2 days before he took office for his second term as premier and 2 months before he married his current wife. Messiah Thabane, who is 43, has also been charged with the murder, and the police suspect her of ordering assassins to do the job. Both of them have since denied any involvement. Thabane had initially been scheduled to hear the charges on Friday, but left to South Africa for what aides said was a medical appointment. He has said he will resign at the end of July, and several members of his own All Basotho Convention party have been pressuring him to go sooner to avert a political crisis. Up next is our foreign news. Donald Trump was cheered by more than 100,000 Indians at the opening of the world's largest cricket stadium on Monday, promising an incredible trade deal and the most feared military equipment on the planet at his biggest rally abroad. Indians wore cardboard Trump masks and namasked Trump hats to welcome the U.S. president at the huge new Motera Stadium in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's own political homeland, the western city of Ahmedabad. Modi, a nationalist who won re-election last year and has shifted his country firmly to the right with policies that his critics decry as authoritarian and ethnically divisive, touts his relationship with Trump as proof of his own global standing. U.S. officials have described Trump's visit as a way to counter China's rise as a superpower.
Namaste. Namaste. The United States welcomed your great Prime Minister at a giant football stadium in Texas, and today India welcomes us at the world's largest cricket stadium right here in Ahmedabad. We make the greatest weapons ever made: airplanes, missiles, rockets, ships. We make the best, and we're dealing now with India. But this includes advanced air defense systems and armed and unarmed aerial vehicles. And I am pleased to announce that tomorrow our representatives will sign deals to sell over $3 billion in the absolute finest state-of-the-art military helicopters and other equipment to the Indian Armed Forces. Prime Minister Modi, you are not just the pride of Gujarat. You are living proof that with hard work and devotion, Indians can accomplish anything, anything at all, anything they want.
To the rising cases of coronavirus now, Italy, South Korea and Iran reported sharp rises in infections on Monday, triggering concern from the World Health Organization, WHO. But China relaxed some curbs on movement, including Beijing, as the rate of the new infections there eased. The virus has put Chinese cities into lockdown, disrupted air traffic to the workshop of the world, and blocked global supply chains for everything from cars and car parts to smartphones. South Korea reported 231 new cases, taking its total to 833. Many are in its fourth largest city, Daegu, which became more isolated with Asiana Airlines and Korean Air suspending flights there until next month. The WHO has been saying for weeks that it dreads the disease reaching countries with weak health systems. Europe's biggest outbreak is in Italy, with some 150 infections compared with just 3 before Friday and a 5th death. Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad has submitted a letter of resignation to the country's king. His office said on Monday, leaving the government in limbo amid talk of forming a new governing coalition. The fate of Malaysia's ruling coalition had been in doubt after weekend talks between some of its members and opposition groups on forming a new government that would exclude Mahathir's anointed successor, Anwar Ibrahim. The pair had joined forces to win the 2018 election and oust the long-running United Malays National Organization in an alliance based on a promise that Mahathir would cede power to Anwar. Coming up next is some business news.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Wait. It is important to be a global citizen at the same time appreciate different people, cultures and different ways of life. That's from the quote. Right now, one of my sons is currently in Tinapa, Calabar on a school trip. School. So what they do when they're in year 7, they go to Obudukatu Ranch, they go to Tinapa, they've been taking them all over the places.
2 runways at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos have now been calibrated for the Category 3 instrument landing system and is now safe for landing. So what had happened earlier in the week was that the international flight had to be diverted. They couldn't
Ghana. Have you ever had to stay in the
hospital for some few days to tend to someone who is ill?
Yes.
Is the hardest job
It's
ever.
a lot of work.
Your life practically stops. Recently, I got close to someone I knew when he was in his heydays. When I saw him, I was shocked. I said, so this is what stroke is.
You will be thankful for good health. Oh my.
The National Bureau of Statistics on Monday released the gross domestic product report for the 2019 fiscal year, with the economy growing by 2.27% in 2019. The annual GDP growth rate of 2.27%, according to the ANBS, represents an increase of 360 basis points over the growth rate of 1.91% recorded in 2018. The report stated that during the fourth quarter of 2019, Nigeria's GDP grew by 2.55% year-on-year in real terms, compared to the fourth quarter of 2018, which recorded a growth rate of 2.38%. It said this represents an increase of 0.17 percentage points and an increase of 0.27 percentage points when compared with the third quarter of 2019. The strong fourth quarter 2019 growth rate, the NBS noted, also represented the highest quarterly growth performance since the 2016 recession. Now, worries about the economic consequences of the coronavirus epidemic hit financial markets on Monday, with uncertainty among investors noticeably on the rise. In Germany, Frankfurt's main DAX index dropped by 3.31%, while the Eurozone's blue-chip Euro Stoxx 50 fell by 3.27%. The safe haven investment of gold saw its price rise to a new 7-year high on Monday, reaching $1,679 per troy ounce, about 31.1 grams. Oil prices came under pressure, with the world oil benchmark Brent falling in the morning to $57.13 per barrel. The nervousness on the markets is being fueled by the increasing international spread after new coronavirus, with fast rising infection numbers in South Korea and Italy of particular concern. DZ Bank analyst Michael Pissinger says the economic consequences of the corona epidemic will be substantial. Still ahead on Plus TV African News is a roundup on entertainment and sports. Big standout at the kickoff of the 2020 Social Media Week is the launch of the second season of the Afrocentric series African Roots, an initiative of DW and Visual Collab of the Comic Republic. DW first published African Roots in 2018, starting with the first batch of 25 portraits of personalities that shaped the African history. With this second season, a sum of 50 portraits will be made available by DW. Ife Omai brings us a report from the conference.
For us to have a clearer and better future, we must know where we are coming from. As Africans, we need to be further equipped on our history, heroes and heroines. In light of this, DW, in partnership with Comic Republic, are tackling this gap as they launch the new season of the popular social media and radio project African Roots at the 2020 edition of Social Media Week, Lagos.
We launched that project African Roots because we noticed that there is an immense interest in African history, and this is still lacking in the global history books, but as well as in the African textbooks, obviously. So we got lots of concerns from young users that they learn more about European history, like Second World War, or even before that, Napoleon Bonaparte, but not about their own heroes.
I think Africans need to change is this perspective of survival instead of progressive thinking and documentation, right? it is impossible for you to be able to avoid mistakes in the future if you don't understand the past.
This unique collaboration employs African sources, historians, cultural scientists, writers, journalists, and cartoonists, which targets the young generation making up the vast majority of Africa's population.
But this is so exciting. Why? Because we all know it's not only the topics we report on which matters, it's also really who tells the stories. And that is most crucial, most important, I think, when it comes to tell the story of your own history, to give the interpretation of your identity.
The reason why we were so excited to partner with DW to work on African roots was the ability to finally tell the story of our heroes, and not just our heroes, people who in one way or the other has shaped Africa, who has gotten Africa to where it is now.
Funded by the German Judas Henkel Foundation and launching its second season, it is distributed across Africa in 6 languages and looking to expand. Ife Omai reporting for Plus TV Africa.
Thank you, Ife. We'll bring you sports news after this break. According to reports, at least one person has been confirmed dead as residents of Shagamu area of Ogun State took to the streets to protest the killing of Remo Stars player Tiamiyu Kazim. The protesters who took to the streets also stormed the palace of Akirigbo and the paramount ruler of Remo land, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, demanding justice for the deceased. The protesters condemned incessant brutality and indiscriminate arrest by law enforcement agents in the town and its environs. And that's our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please join us again.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all.
We're a bit too selfish when it comes to, the climate and the society. And I think eventually Earth is going to say, you know what, I'm done.
Climate change, especially what we're experiencing now, some of them, most of them is actually man-made.
Climate change is both ways. It is natural occurrences that leads to climate change. We might be positive. And there are human activities.
So these days we have investors trying to say, oh, if you are not practicing sustainable days or climate smart technology, we're not going to invest.
The state is supposed to manage the local government to deal with our waste. Anywhere in the world, the local government
has the power
manage the waste because they are closer to the people.
Yes. The evidence of human-made climate change is overwhelming.
That money will shoot every person that we know can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
Since that time why I carry gonorrhea. I first go hospital first, but it no go. Now I come make that mama. She just pulled it, he pointed and shot.
What is the soul of a man? They suffer too much. They suffer too much.
Issues around the Nigerian police, we have to tackle it holistically.
Hello and thank you for staying with us. This is Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we discuss the biggest entertainment stories, buzz and celebrity gist. My name is Osi Godwin, and I've got my co-anchors with me, Ife Omai and Ife Oluwa Oshuke.
Hello.
How you doing?
Not bad. How's your day been?
Good.
Just good.
Yeah, just good. Okay, let's move on.
I think all the rest is gone.
Your rest is gone. Oh wow! If really, at least try to make it go through the whole week, at least until Wednesday.
We'll try.
Okay,
Let's
bring
see
it
if
back.
we can get some
bring it
sleep
back
tonight.
Okay, so Chiwetala Agu reacts to reports of being critically sick and needing financial assistance. He said, and I quote, "Please disregard any foolish post on Facebook by anybody saying I'm sick and soliciting for money. I'm in perfect good health condition. I will never ask anybody for a dime, neither am I on Facebook. Signed, Chief Chiwetala Agu." I'm happy he's good and according to what he's saying, clearing the air.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need a dime. I'm glad to hear that as well, because Chiwetala Agu is on almost every movie that is and even not in the cinema. I don't know how to categorize those on home videos. So he's in all. So he's broke.
That's
man.
actually true. He's not in any cinema movie.
I think he's in one that is going to cinema soon, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think it's even the one that's gone.
That's gone or going soon. I can't remember, but
really
just
can't
one,
remember, but I'm
really.
sure I've seen him on
You know,
Netflix.
Netflix and cinema is not the same with
I know. I think I've seen it on the cinema.
No, I think he's on
that
one,
went on
one, not more than one.
He should be on wait a minute.
It doesn't matter. The fact
See,
is that
there
he's
are some
cashing,
people that they are
out
okay
in the.
with.
I hope he is.
I think he is, because
We hope
if he doesn't understand the value he brings to the table, that's the only reason he won't really be cashing out, because this man is on almost every hot or strong home video. Yeah, so I'm happy he's good actually.
Yeah.
Big shout out to him, but one thing I've always realized is that there's no smoke without fire. So even if it was a case of it was rushed to the hospital for something.
You think he's lying?
No, I don't think he's lying. I'm
Right.
saying that even if it's a case of it's a minor thing and people blew it out of proportion,
Right.
I just hope he looks after himself and make sure it doesn't escalate more than it is, and then we'll have to come back
Or
to
he's
this
just
table.
aging and not looking as plumpy as he used to, and then people start saying, "Oh, what's wrong with him?" Like, just gonna be funny, you know.
I also like the confidence in saying I'm not going to need anyone's money, signed and sealed, whatever. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with getting the public to help when you need it, especially for someone who has served us. He served our living rooms and our memories. He served all that for a long time, but you know, to each man his own. I just hope he's actually really fine and he can afford the health care that he needs and deserves.
Okay. All right, moving on to the next. This one is not just, it's going to be a story. The only reason the ears of your female child is pierced at birth is to point out her gender. It's a harmless practice that is founded on gender constructs. It takes away the ability of the girl to choose if she wants pierced ears or reinforces the accepted appearance for girls. This is coming from Lolo Cynthia. She's a storyteller, and I think she works a bit in the media as well, so yeah.
But she's also a female child care someone, NGO something. What she's saying is true. It's facts. It is facts, but it is an unnecessary.
Would you want to say it's facts?
It is factual, because why are you piercing the child's ear and only the female child's ear? She said she wants to wear earrings. When I was born, I wasn't pierced. I only got pierced when I was 13. It was my teenage birthday gift. Facts.
Birthday gift, you did not say.
Yeah, no, my aunt literally grabbed me from one of my mom's and I said, you're a teenager now, come, let's go pierce your ears. And I'm not telling my mom about it. And that's how we got my ears pierced. So it is not necessary for a girl to pierce their ears. But in the same light of
saying that,
but she didn't even say it was wrong.
No.
She just on the ear.
Why?
Because dressing.
Permanent.
Yes.
And
Yes.
How about the names? The names are permanent.
Yeah, the names are
Names
permanent.
can be changed, really.
Yeah, it can be too. Yeah.
So
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That you because I say that people are reacting. Yes, it's really not. It's not a necessary, but it is true. Speaking for people who are not like us on this table, there's a lot of people who don't fit the girl and boy box, and that's what a lot of people don't understand when people come up with that. They're not trying to break down your normal your ideas. They're just trying to give space for other people.
Well, I'm saying that I come from a family where we don't even pierce the ears
Yeah.
from childbirth. And it's not because we think he might want to become, she might want to become a boy. It's coming from a religious angle. So Seventh-day Adventists, if you notice, maybe now they are beginning to become more open, they allow people to do what they want to do. But from way back, they don't wear earrings, you know, and at the end of the
So
day,
like this now you're a rebel.
Oh yeah, to an extent. But you know, you realize that most of the girls from such homes still Welcome back. This is still Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Surrogacy is a valid instrument of having children, and churches must begin to have these conversations. And this is coming from Progress Etuk. To drive home the importance of having this conversation, the fashion designer shared the story of a sister who, in summary, got married at 21 as a virgin but could not conceive. She dismissed every advice from her family and her husband on using surrogacy or IVF, claiming she was waiting on the Lord. After about 20 years of marriage, her husband brought home his mistress with 2 children. Her sister suffered a heart attack and never recovered from the shock. And she went on to say that personally, she doesn't blame the man. You know, so she was just sharing this story to let people know that they need to be open-minded. And I mean, God, if you're so spiritual, then you understand that God is also the one giving the scientists the ideas. I mean, you know.
And as for the woman, you know, usually I'm always on that case of like, you know, men shouldn't do this, men shouldn't do that. But when it comes to kids, I absolutely agree that a man should go and find his own family or the right wife for him. Did he do it the right way in terms of like going behind her back? I don't think so. But I would do the same if I ended up with somebody that I agreed for kids, and kids is important to me, and then for some reason you don't want that. You don't. No, that's not woman.
The both.
Yeah, it's not.
No, because they take the egg of the woman as well.
No. So with surrogacy,
they actually take the egg.
With surrogacy, it is hard for you to actually prove that the woman's eggs will be any useful and not be eaten by, I'm just using eaten as a playful word here, eaten by the woman's, the carrier's eggs already. Because she already has.
Let me explain to you. It's just like IVF.
Yes.
So it's already formed.
Right.
And then they place it in the womb. So it's there are different ways to surrogacy, of course. There are people that would get someone, I don't know why you ever do that. The man will have to sleep with the woman. That's another thing entirely. But the same process of IVF can also be carried out on the surrogates. And although it's more expensive, definitely, but...
My worry is also always just about the bonding. That's something that science can never understand.
I mean, if you're saying I should adopt a child.
You cannot own, except I think until it gets to a certain age, then it's like, well, the baby has formed and you have been given a period of time to be able to commit to your contract.
But I don't think she can keep it after birth, though. I think it's before birth.
Yes, of course.